outside your house, and
you can come in. You're welcome anytime.
no, I just like the idea of stalking you. It's
okay.
Not quite as fun if I'm invited.
There's a little one over here in the red. Yes.
Good question. Good question. Yeah, you know what? For a long time, the lady who owned the house was so friendly, and she would let anyone who wanted to come up there and go inside the Goonies house. She would let them go in there.
She would do tours.
Tours, like people would get married up there. I remember going in at one day. I go up there and there's a wedding, and they're like, "Do you want to be the witness for their wedding?" And I was like, sure. And the people were like, they thought that was so cool. But I thought they would think it was even cooler that Mikey was there. But they were like, cool. And then they went back to their wedding. You know, like their wedding is what was important to them then. But then
how dare they take their wedding
more
seriously than the presence of Sean Astin?
I was like, do we want to do an interview? Oh, not interested? Okay, that's fine. But then they got, when the Goonies started to really get popular again, and a lot of people started going up there, and they would roughhouse, they would just drink and smoke, and they were like not very respectful of the lady in her house. So at a certain point, she was fed up with it, and she put up a sign saying, no trespassing. And they would trespass anyway, so then she would take this blue tarp and cover the house with it so that people would stop trying to take pictures. I ended up writing this Facebook post telling the Goonies fans, like, hey, if you love the Goonies and you understand what the movie's about, it was about protecting the sanctity of the home. So don't disrespect it. And she ended up, I think, and then really the city should have bought it, but I think someone else bought it. I have no idea what their relationship to it is.
Well, that was, I think, honestly, as far as I know, the actual new people that bought it were the ones who were doing the tarp and stuff. Because it was up, she lived in it up until like just a couple years ago, and then either she passed away or she moved something, and somebody new took it, and they weren't having it. They were like, no.
I have this idea that they should, like, in the Target parking lot, put one of those, like, a huge pole up there, and you could, like, climb up with a spyglass, and you could look at it. I'm trying to find a way to make everybody happy, you know what I mean?
Well, no, the problem is now what happens is because, of course the house is still there, the driveway's still there, it's accessible to the street. There's really no way, if you could be there and know the geography, it's these tiny little dirt roads, so it's not like you can put fencing up or anything. So it's still in the same situation, but now there's a sign that says no trespassing, and it's got the little Goonies figures, and it says, yes, this is the house that the Goonies were shot in. Please don't come up the driveway or we'll shoot you. But if you want to take a picture, you're welcome to do so from down here at this vantage point. Please be respectful of the neighbors.
Has it changed?
It's exactly the same. No, I was there last year. Exactly the same.
Yeah. Wow. And there's also all the other places in town that we filmed that are still kind of roughly the same. Like that.
Yeah, like downtown. Like that old downtown.
They built a couple of places, like the one theater.
I know, but it still looks pretty 1934.
Right here.
How long did it take to film the movie in Oregon, and then Hollywood?
I think 5 months. I think it took 5 months to make the movie. That was back then. You can't do. It would cost way too much.
It was about 2 months in Astoria and 3 months
in Warner Brothers lot.
Yeah, the Warner Brothers lots.
Back here.
That I could get to lunch before the crew.
Right here.
Come on.
What? I was acting. I didn't have a wish. The character's got this wish. He's really pissed off. As a matter of fact, I remember, Donner actually had like this big talk with me about it because I was like, I just didn't get the whole thing. I was just like, what do you mean I'm taking them all back? I'm not a thief. Why is my character a thief all of a sudden? I'm not gonna steal. He says, no, but it's okay because you probably threw them in here. That's what you're thinking. You're thinking you threw these quarters in here and none of them came true and you deserve the right to get them back. I was like, I get it now. So, I was probably thinking
I
about that.
I remember that day, and Peppy, who's a guy who's my guardian, he would drive me to work every day, and
He opened a pizza joint.
He
No, I'm
opened-
just joking.
he was a corpsman in Vietnam, and he was a really fascinating guy, and he ended up being my guardian for like 4 or 5 movies while I was a kid, because my parents were working actors and they weren't gonna like babysit me on the set all the time. So I remember after that scene, he was like crying. Yeah. He thought he was so impressed, and he said that everyone else
Because
watching
I did
it.
so badly? I feel so sad for the kid. I'm just joking.
There was something about the emotionality of that character and what was going on for him and what was going on for you that connected in a way that was like
Well, it was
legit.
foretelling.
It was legit emotional, and he was like, I remember I wasn't jealous, but I remember like, I don't know, I don't know if I got it either, but it definitely made an impression on me that he was moved by that sense of like
But you know what
pain
it
and
is?
childhood loss.
Yeah, everybody can relate with that idea, because so many people get short-sighted in life and they don't get to live their dreams. And I was that kid, I felt that way. So of course I connected to it in a very real way. But that said, I also was a prophesized moment because I became that daredreamer, if you will, who chose to live outside of the box and follow my dreams instead of follow the blueprint, and it worked out for me. So in the end, follow your dreams, and maybe one day your wish will come true. How's that?
Right here.
We grew up watching Goonies, and it was a big part of our childhood, and I know that we're really excited to watch it with our kids and kind of pass that along. So my question is for you.
You're like way too young to have kids.
A little younger than I am. Imagine your 3 daughters. I'm just curious, have they seen it? Do they think it's super cool, or are they like, that's that?
They refuse to watch it.
For a lot of years, they did not like sloth, and they were not gonna watch. Yeah, they were like freaked out. They're big fraidy cats. They each in their own. Allie is 20, so she just finished her 2nd year at college, and
Beautiful, talented girl, by the way. Wow. What a daughter.
She's in Harvard, right?
she's at Harvard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Harvard, folks.
So
She's
she,
bright.
I remember her. I can't remember when she was. It's really kind of cool because I'm just dad, and I'm the guy who like is sleeping and doesn't want to do stuff, and they're constantly like all kids like not wanting to be embarrassed by dad. Like, Dad, you have to wear this, or Dad, don't say anything about that, or whatever. I'm like, I'm like an adult. I know how to do stuff, and. But every now and then, they will discover something like the Goonies or Lord of the Rings or something, and all of a sudden, they'll kind of like look at me, and they'll kind of look at that, and they're like, wow, like, you're actually like good in that. Thank you very much. So, I was gonna build on the dream thing. So, Dukes of Hazzard filmed on the back lot, kind of like a couple stages away from us, and they were always wrecking the cars and doing stuff. So one day, this piggybacks on get to the lunch before the crew. So I'm walking from stage 16 down to where the commissary is, and Catherine Bond, Daisy Duke, right, rolls up in her Daisy Dukes. And I kind of put my hand out, and she pulls over. She's like, "You want to ride?" I was like, "I would love a ride." So I get into the golf cart, and we go down to the commissary, and she pulls up, and she's like, "Bye." I'm like, "Bye," and I get off, and all the crew's looking at me like, "There's unbelievable." Yeah. That was my dream, and it didn't come true.
This young lady right here in the front row. Yes, you. You had your hand up.
How can you make slats eyes be two different colors?
Good question.
Did everybody hear that in the back?
How did you know Sloth's eyes were two different
You
colors?
can see it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I don't mean to be gender or whatever,
Not
but
to
girls
say I
are
haven't seen the
observant.
movie a few times. No, I mean I've seen the movie like what 100,000 million times, and I've never noticed ever.
What I noticed about Sloth's eyes is that one is lower than the other one,
Well,
and
we
they
all
look in
know
different directions.
that.
So what they did was they actually made a prosthetic. They took special foam and they put it over his eye. John Matusak was a football player who played Sloth, and they covered his real eye, and then it was thick, and they cut it out, and they put a make-believe eye in there, and they put a little
Robotic eye.
Yeah, and they could stand back
And
with a
remote
remote
control.
control. They could move his ears, and they could move his eye. And so, and I always thought it was really, it looked uncomfortable that.
Well, could you
someone-
imagine having makeup on that's got wires running through it that move your different fake body parts?
And this is supposed to be your eye.
Sorry
here,
about
so-
that. That's just a little wire hitting my ear. Don't worry about it.
But I guess they must have chosen to make it two different color eyes. Of course, at the same time, in post-production, they can kind of, like
Tweak it.
after you're finished filming it, when they get it into the computer and stuff, they can kind of sweeten the color of the eye, make a blue eye look really blue, or even change the colors of eyes or hair. They can do everything now. It's crazy.
No, and then back then too, I mean, we would have like a 7 a.m. call with Slav. The actor John Matusak would show up like 3 a.m. and he would be in this trailer, like spending, you know,
Yeah, it was like 7 hours of makeup.
having his makeup put on him. So
7 hours, man.
And the first version of it was really bad.
Really bad.
Like you couldn't, it didn't look, you couldn't show
Like
it.
octopus bad.
Was it scary?
No.
Very scary.
Okay, I think
Why they left that in the movie? They left all the mistakes in the movie.
They were hoping one day people would notice so they could do an extended cut.
I honestly, to this day, don't think they know. A bunch of the stuff.
Who is they?
Oh, actually, let's go her next, and then you're going to be the last one over here. Okay, so right here.